And here's another little project that I was going to try today. I was going to try doing the Landsmanheim photo mock-up of a building. So I printed off and scaled this. I took some shots the other day of this facility, which is in Woodland, Washington. And this is the FreeMoN module that I'm doing. So I scaled them to this Pacific Fruit Express Ather. So I think the height's right, but anyway, that should be pretty close to the size that it really needs to be, and I can adjust it. This is just a test mock-up right now. So what I've got to do is line these all up, trim them out, get them glued together. I've got little crop marks here, and then measure my piece of Fome-Cor to do this. And let me lay these all out on the module, and I'll show you how big this is going to be. So here we are out in the garage at the module. I just got through painting this the other day, so I got some nice mud color. And this right here is the siding that takes off and goes down along the cold storage facility. But here's the module join right here. Okay, now it's laid out, the building, like it should be. You can see that the end of the siding is right here. I need to turn it around because it'll sit on this side of the siding. So this end of the building actually belongs down here. And right at this part, there'll be a road with some crossing gates. There's signals that sit right about in here somewhere, up next to the main, a switch box, and a few other goodies. There's a little tree out in here somewhere on this berm. There's a little berm right here. So there's a little elderberry tree that's actually here. I took a picture of it, but these were all taken on the same day. And there are actually 3 cars that goes in here. See the piping here and the piping on the roof there, right here. So that car is sitting at this next door. So I'm shortening it by 1 bay. Normally there's 8 doors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I've shortened it by 1 door. Just so that it will fit along the siding. But still, this module from the end to the center, that's 4 feet long. So my little building flat that's going to sit in here is going to be over 3 feet long. You can see in the picture here that there's some more buildings down here. Well, I'm just going to model them on the opposite side of the split. So they will come up into about here somewhere, but they're not the unloading facility. So there's actually like a parking lot, and I'll just have a building, a flat kind of a backdrop thing sticking up here with that building on it. And then there's a chain link fence and some other goodies that go in there. Okay, so I'm just taking my steel rule on my cutting pad, lining up to my little crop marks here, and I'm just trimming this to length on this end. I'll trim it up later. Okay, so that's piece number 1. I'm just going to trim all one end, the same end, first. And this is just going to be a temporary mock-up. I need to go back in. I saved all my pictures as separate masks in one version of this before I did all the reduction and everything, so that I can go back and tweak and tune and align and skew and whatever else I need to do to be able to get that to line up and look a little better. It's my first time doing this, so what I do want to remember is that I took that extra door out, so I have to kind of remind myself of that as I'm gluing these things together to make sure I get the spacing between all the doors the same. So my glue stripe needs to go right up to that mark. And I'm just using the old Elmer's Back to School glue stick here. And I know this is probably not the way you'd want to do it when you get to your final product. You probably would want to butt these together, but since this is just kind of proof of concept, get an idea for it, we're going to do it this way. Okay, then we can move on to the next guy. Now, I'm taking a measurement off of these two doors because it's kind of what I have to go off of, and they're not exactly. This one's like 13.5 scale feet. These ones are 12.5, so we'll stick with that. Get it kind of close in here. You're going to see a piece of the tree. So we're right at 13 feet, so that should be all right. That's the section where we're deleting the door. So something I'll have to change is there's little squares on here with the numbers of the door. Let's see, right. And if you notice, my scaling is not quite right on this part right here. The roof lines don't match up and the bottoms don't match up. I should have skewed this, but for testing it's going to be fine. It's just going to be a stand-in building for right now. And now the fun begins. We're going to cut out the roof line and try and get it as straight as possible and parallel. But you know what? If I get the top straight and the bottom a little bit gets cut off, well, then so be it. Okay, get this all trimmed out. Then I get to cut a piece of Fome-Cor to match it. And actually I can glue that on and then just may end up being two pieces of Fome-Cor. We'll see. So we'll get this all trimmed out and meet you back here. Okay, what I'm doing now is I kind of took measurements all the way along here from the roof line down to the ground level, but I have to average it because my scaling is not perfect. So I'm kind of taking a mean approach to this, and so I'm going to make a mark everywhere so that I can cut this. My building's not going to wobble all over like this. So I'm going to make a mark here so that I can cut the little paper cutout straight and parallel with my roof line, so that I can just cut a straight piece of Fome-Cor or two. Okay, so now I've got my building strip all cut out and glued together. Time to cut some Fome-Cor. I will set my calipers here to this tallest roof line and use that to mark out my Fome-Cor. Yep. And then we'll trim that all out. So I've got my Fome-Cor chopped, and it's going to take 2 lengths of Fome-Cor to make up this building, but I got 2 here. Really, what I should do is cut a piece of Fome-Cor down to right here where this roof line is, and print another copy of this, and laminate this one up, and then bring the step this forward because this is a little build out with this piping and stuff on top of it. Okay, something else I did while you were out of the room there. I cut some little pieces as little wing walls to stick to the back of this, so that when I set it on the module, it will actually kind of be able to stand up by itself. And we're just going to stick those on with hot glue. So the gun's heating up right now. Yeah, 3M Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive. That's what we use. We're just going to dust this whole thing with a light spray. We're going to go do that outside and stick our paper on. Alright, well that could have gone a little smoother, but not too bad for a first try. What you may want to do is work with shorter sections, because I tried laying this all on in one long strip and I got a little wrinkle right in here. So you got to work carefully. Fortunately I peeled it back out. It was worse than this, but I got it mostly flattened out. And we'll trim off this extra little black bit above the roof line, make it look a little cleaner, and then I'll stick on the little wing walls. So I've got my little machinist's 1-2-3 blocks to make sure I get this all on here nice and square. Stick some hot glue on here. Okay, and I'm not going to go right out to the end with it. Spin this around. Alright, unplug that, and we'll let that cure for a little bit, and we'll go stick it on the layout. So there you go. You've got your cold storage facility. We've got a refrigerator car being pushed by our little converted GP39. And spotted in front of one of the doors. Just for a building stand-in, to get a rough idea, I think it's alright. I think the whole building needs to come up a ways. It's a little too low, but that's what I built it for, is to see how you're going to mock the thing up and put it on place. And for our FreeMoN get-together, it'll work fine.